Shana Tova, everyone. Many of you know my daughter. Among her many fine qualities, Hannah Matilda is quite mature and reliable. I have never entered a parent portal to check on her homework. Thank God. Nor have I ever received a call from a teacher telling me that she missed an assignment. But every once in a while, when I realize that things have piled up for her, I'll check in and ask how she's managing with her schoolwork and her extracurricular activities. I'll stand at her bedroom door by the mezuzah and I might say, HM, how's it going with all those deadlines? And usually she looks at me with a kind of inscrutable smile and she says calmly, time is a theoretical construct. On one level, of course, she is right. Albert Einstein himself said, for us convinced physicists, the distinction between past, present, and future is an illusion, although a persistent one. It's not only physicists who say that time is an illusion, theologians say so too. God, by definition, transcends time. My mother has often quoted her friend Uri Simon, who observed, since God is beyond time, God can remember what it is that you're about to do. Although we can acknowledge that in some ways time is a construct, on a daily basis, time is very real for us humans, including for physicists and theologians and even 11th graders. In profound ways, Rosh Hashanah is about time. Today is the birthday of the world. It marks the beginning of time. This holiday also reminds us that time is limited. Another year has gone by. We don't know, as the Machzor says, who will live out the limit of their days and whose life will be cut short. We pray to be inscribed in a book of life that surpasses this life and time as we know it. We acknowledge in our liturgy that a person's life is like a fleeting cloud, and yet each of us merits the attention and judgment of the eternal God. Rabbi Tarfon, first century sage, was wont to say, the day is short, Hayom Katzar, and the work is plentiful, and the laborers are lazy. But the reward is great, and the master of the house is insistent. It's a poignant image about our time and spiritual task. The day is short. In this brief time we have on earth, there is so much work that we need to do to heal ourselves and to heal the world. And we who labor to improve can be lazy. But remember, the master of the house, the master of the universe, is insistent. And the rewards for using our time well are so very great. Time is important and influential for Jews, but not only for Jews. Time is vital cross-culturally, and a sense of time is grounded in human biology. Chronobiology is the discipline devoted to the study of biological rhythms. If you've ever suffered from jet lag, you know how powerful those rhythms can be. I was amazed to learn that our circadian rhythms are run by the suprachiasmatic nucleus, a cluster of about 20,000 cells the size of a grain of rice in the hypothalamus. But this bilateral structure in our brains doesn't just affect sleep and wakefulness, it affects our decisions. Regardless of whether you're a night owl or a morning person, research shows that the vast majority of people do their best analytical thinking in the morning. But don't give up on afternoons. People tend to be more creative in the afternoons. Exactly because some of our analytical powers wane, we're liberated to discover out-of-the-box solutions. Time shapes and influences our decisions and our thinking. But more than that, the way we relate to time defines us. The ability to anticipate the future distinguishes human beings from other animals. We are the only animals who can imagine a more positive future and exercise agency in the present to help create it. Scientists coined the term autonoetic consciousness to refer to the unique human capacity to imagine ourselves in the past and the future. We regularly do this mental time travel. Neuroscientists and psychologists and philosophers collaborated on a book about this subject that I read and enjoyed. It's called Homo Prospectus. Looking forward defines our humanity. Though time may ultimately be a construct and an illusion, our circadian rhythms, the way we relate to time, all have profound effects. You may have heard of Philip Zimbardo. He ran and ultimately pulled the plug on the famous Stanford prison experiment. In my family, Zimbardo is not famous because of his best-known experiment, but because he was Craig's sister's academic advisor. Carolyn Weiss, my sister-in-law, worked with him on one of his major areas of interest, the psychology of time. Zimbardo created a time instrument called the ZTPI, Zimbardo Time Perspective Inventory. It's a series of questions that illuminate your relationship to the past, the present, and the future. After Yontif, you can go online and take the ZTPI. It will take you about 10 minutes, and you'll get a report. It will help you better understand how you view the past. The time index will also alert you whether you are hedonistic or fatalistic in your present orientation. In other words, do you stay in the moment because you're enjoying and savoring what is happening right now? Or do you stay in the moment because you think there's no point in trying to shape the future? If you take the Zimbardo Time Index, you'll be invited to take another test of time, you should excuse the expression, called the Transcendental Time Index. Zimbardo and his colleagues added to their original inventory because they realized they needed to take account of how people think about the future when we have transcendental beliefs. If you believe the Messiah is coming, if you believe there is life beyond this earthly plane, if you believe in the eternality of the soul or the constancy of the Jewish people from generation to generation, if you believe that the universe is a friendly place that was created out of love and not randomly, then any of those beliefs will contribute mightily to your relationship with time. Not everyone in this sanctuary or watching by Boxcast would say that they believe in God or in an afterlife or the eternality of the covenant or the soul. But I dare say that everyone in attendance believes in the holiness of time. Whether you have articulated that way to yourself or not, it's a big part of why you're here today. Time is not just a convention of the Greenwich Mean Clock. It's not just 24-hour cycles in the heavens or in our brains. Time is not just a construct. It's a sacred construct. God repeatedly, after each day of creation, calls the world and its living inhabitants good. Human beings are even tov me'od, very good. But the first thing in the Bible to be called holy, kadosh, is time. God blessed the seventh day, Shabbat, and called it holy. Every Friday, in imitation of God, Jews recite Kiddush and sanctify the Sabbath day. We do The same when we come to synagogue on high holidays to coronate God and the new year. We elevate and sanctify time. We declare that time matters, and how we use our time matters. We know this in our spirits, we know this in our kishkas, and not just in our calendars. Space can be infused with holiness as our sanctuary is today. I felt it when I saw the 2 Torah scrolls at the front of our bima just before they were returned to the ark. But time is our ultimate location for the holy, because holiness happens in moments. There are rhythms that punctuate our days and give shape to our years. There are sacred occasions like today that elevate our time and our lives. Psychologists like Zimbardo believe that there is an optimal time perspective that we can work toward once we unpack our assumptions about time. Ideally, you want to maintain positivity about the past. This doesn't mean that the past has only been wonderful or that you see the past through rose-colored glasses. We all have bad and tragic experiences in our past, including throughout Jewish history. But what is your attitude about the past? Do you tend to derive beneficial lessons and happy memories from the past, or are you more prone to ruminating on what went wrong? How do you relate to what is poignant or bittersweet? Do you easily find things to be grateful for about the past? Let's all practice that one right now. Let's think of one thing we're grateful for from the last year. Zimbardo recommends that we reach or maintain a moderately high score for positivity about the future. We don't want to be so pie-in-the-sky optimistic that we don't lift a finger to address problems or confront obstacles. And we certainly don't want to fail to use our agency or to despair of creating a better future. Zimbardo likewise recommends mostly positive enjoyment of the present. We want to be engaged enough to savor our blessings, but not so highly present-minded that we take undue risks for immediate gratification. And we don't want to fail to plan for the future. Some of our biggest mistakes and even our gravest sins happen because, you might say, we're in the wrong time zone. We all know people who are mired in the past, either because they're endlessly reliving their glory days or because they're rehearsing mistakes or past offenses against them. Whenever we are stuck in the past, we're probably neglecting our present relationships or our future prospects. It's possible to overfocus on the present moment. Some people risk losing relationships for the momentary satisfaction of hurling that one devastating insult. How many of us, myself included, neglect diet, exercise, or sleep that would help us live longer and better because we spend too much time on things that seem more important or more enjoyable right now? Yet sacrificing the now for the future can also be overdone. If we only invest money and barely spend it, we compromise our enjoyment and our generosity today. When our kids are too future-oriented, it's damaging. You have to go to the right preschool, to get into the right elementary school, to go to the right high school, and then you spend most of your time worrying about getting into the right college. With that kind of future orientation, when does learning happen? When do our kids get to enjoy life or take justifiable pride in their accomplishments? Judaism has a perspective that can help us keep past, present, and future in healthy balance. With regard to the past, we're not so much attached to history as to memory. The root zachor remember, occurs 169 times in the Bible. That makes it a dominant refrain. But remembrance is selective. Not everything from the past deserves a place in our current thinking. We remember slavery in Egypt not to collapse into self-pity or to take revenge, but so that we might develop more compassion for the slave, the widow, the orphan, and the stranger. We remember true evil like Amalek so that we don't live in denial or fail to root it out today. The 10 Commandments tell us, remember the Shabbat and why to keep it holy. The Shema tells us, set up reminders like a mezuzah on your door or the fringe on your talis to recall the commandments as a prompt to do them. Over and over again, Torah and prophets urge us to deliberately remember the covenant with God. The psalmist, too, urges us to remember God's love, even when we feel estranged or unworthy. Jews identify a particular kind of present. The philosopher Franz called it the eternal now. We see it reflected in the words of the Aliyah blessings that were just recited. Not Natan HaTorah, God gave us the Torah, but Notain HaTorah. God is constantly, eternally giving the Torah and revelation. Sinai happens right now. The same could be said of creation. Every day, not just Rosh Hashanah, celebrates and renews creation. We say in our morning prayers, God, in your goodness, you renew creation each morning. The psalmist saying, this is the day Adonai has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Although every day is worthy of celebration, Shabbat is the most present-oriented day on the Jewish calendar. Shabbat disallows work, which is future-oriented, and it promotes rest and pleasure, oneg, which are present-oriented. Shabbat is time that we devote to being rather than doing, to family and community rather than financial or professional advancement. Shabbat is a time for appreciating the world right now as it is, not for changing or managing it for a better future. And the Jewish calendar directs us to this immersion in present moment consciousness one day out of every 7. One of the most famous present moment statements in Judaism is a simple question posed by Hillel. If not now, when? It's a great question to ask yourself about tshuva. If I won't change now, then when? It's a great question to ask about time itself. If I won't examine and rebalance my relationship with time now, then when? So we have Jewish instruction on remembering the past and bringing it forward, and we have Jewish instruction on finding time in the present for what matters and what we enjoy. Judaism has a great deal to say about the future as well. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs wrote a beautiful book called Future Tense. In it he writes, at the heart of Judaism is a belief so fundamental to Western civilization that we take it for granted. Yet it is anything but self-evident. It is the belief in human freedom. We are what we choose to be. Society is what we choose to make it. The future is open. There is nothing inevitable in the affairs of humankind. Over the summer, I wrote a 17,000-word article on the Jewish view of hope for a scholarly journal. It has 155 footnotes. I'll be doing a dramatic reading of it tomorrow. Just kidding. No, it's safe to come to shul tomorrow. I'll be doing a story. But I mentioned the ridiculous length and breadth of my article to tell you something about the future orientation of Judaism. Hope for the future is a through line through Jewish values, Jewish experience, Jewish humor, and Jewish survival. In the Torah reading that always immediately precedes high holidays, God says, I have put before you life and death, blessing and curse. Choose life in each present moment, that you and your descendants may live into a great future. Rosh Hashanah is itself a great recalibration. It is what social scientists refer to as a fresh start, and it has the fresh start effect of giving us new energy for our goals. It probably won't shock you to learn that Google searches for the word diet are 80% higher on January 1st than any other day of the year. It's also true that college students go to the gym more on Mondays than any other day of the week. And students are far more likely to begin an exercise regimen based on a meaningful date on the calendar, like the start of the semester or their birthday or the first day of spring, than at any other time. Adults do better at work too when they use an anniversary or other meaningful dates to reboot a project. Every first moon of the month is called Rosh Chodesh, which literally means the beginning of renewal. Chodesh, month, comes from the word Chadash, new. And Rosh Chodesh has a second name, Yom Kippur Katan, a miniature day of atonement. 12 cleansings in a year. Every month, every Shabbos, every Rosh Hashanah, every moment, in truth, is ripe for transformation and a fresh start. Scientists tell us that fresh starts, while helpful on an individual basis, are even more powerful when they're done together. Behavioral economics describe what they have called the revivification of groups. Revivification. They use the religious language of bringing life to the dead, mechayei hametim, to describe the power of starting over in community, as we do here today. The energy and purpose to turn one's life around are magnified when we do the spiritual work together. Torah says so, the Jewish calendar says so, the entrainment and support of community tells you it is so, and science agrees. As Phil Zimbardo wrote, every life is a race with a battle against time. If we run the race not as a solitary runner, but as part of a relay team, the presence of others on our side can make us all run better and stronger. Or as the Jewish educator Dovis Vashevkin said, unmarked time isolates. Sanctified time connects. So I want to end this drash with a little time travel. First, let's enter into this present moment. Take a deep breath. If you're sitting near a loved one, take their hand, or feel the seat beneath you supporting you. This is what it is to be here now. Consider the best of the past. What is one thing you learned or experienced in 5782 that will serve you well for years to come? Call it to mind now and bring it forward. Imagine your future. What is one good thing that you're looking forward to in 5783? What is one way you can have a hand in making the year better for someone else? May you count every day as precious, and may you make every day count.